The Biden administration has thrown down the gauntlet, folks. They've got a new social cost of carbon price. Is it enough? We'll look into it. Real quick, if you care about the planet at all, if you don't hate everyone that lives on it, you'll subscribe to this channel. We give money to climate relief efforts. That's what we do, blah, blah, blah. This new interim figure that the Biden administration has come up with for the social cost of carbon is $51. So that means $51 for every ton of carbon released into the atmosphere with a 3% discount rate applied. So I say interim number because there's a interagency working group that's going to be spending basically an entire year going over all the data, looking through everything that they need to figure out what the actual cost should be. So this number could fluctuate, by next January. They've actually stopped short of what economists and environmentalists have suggested that they do. So what does this all mean? What does the social cost of carbon actually mean? If you don't know what it means, it's basically an effort that to quantify the economic and societal cost of carbon. So what they do is they look at everything across the board, from the cost of health to the cost of environmental damage due to climate change, wildfires. They take all these costs across the board from both health and disasters, and they come up with a number that they think is justifiable as to what the social cost of carbon is. This group also put a price on methane emissions, $1,500 for a ton of methane emissions, and $18,000 for nitrous oxide. So that's great. Nitrous oxide, that's what people huff, right? Do idiots huff nitrous oxide? Yes, this is what idiots huff. So for every ton that you huff, it's going to cost you $18,000. So the Biden administration is actually playing it safe here with this $51 per ton. Economists and environmentalists alike were pushing him to have it more around $100 per ton. And they were also pushing them to, fundamentally change the way the climate modeling is used to begin with, the way that it's calculated. But they've decided to play it safe at $51. Now, to be fair, under the Trump administration, some of this environmental cost of carbon was as low as $1 and at the highest $8. So this is a massive step in the right direction, but when you take 10,000 steps in the wrong direction, you got to take more than one step in the right direction to make up for that. So yeah, it's obviously better than what we were dealing with before, but is it enough? Will it change? It'll most likely change after all the data's sift through and everything's been flushed out. But is it smart? I mean, is it a political move? Is that what Biden's doing? Trying to, not fluster conservatives and Republicans who think that, too much government puts too much regulations on corporations and on people? Is he trying to play it safe down the middle of the road? I kind of think so. I think that he should make the number higher, because he's saying that he wants to meet all these climate goals. And you know what? He's come into office and he's done a great job so far. But these goals are almost insurmountable unless you take dramatic action. And this is one of the ways that he could have taken more action, but he decided to taper it back. It could be $100 per ton instead of $51. I would have liked to have seen it that way, and I'm sure a lot of people would have liked to have seen it that way. But, like I said, that number could fluctuate, and it could be a year from now, it could go up to $150 after all the data is looked at. So the social cost of carbon, to be clear, is not the same thing as a tax on carbon. And if you thought so, you're an idiot. I'm just kidding. So I'm a massive proponent of putting a tax on carbon. Putting a tax on carbon is literally paying for the carbon emissions that you emit. It forces corporations to either pay up for what they're doing, what they're knowingly emitting and pumping into the atmosphere. I think that you should have a scaling tax on carbon. I think you start off with, X amount, and then you say every year it's going to double. So as a corporation that 5 years from now, you're going to be paying fivefold in your carbon tax is what you're paying now, so you have enough time to make those changes. And in the long run, you end up saving money anyway by greening up your practices, not to mention helping to save the earth and, not be a terrible person along the way. But the social cost of carbon is different. It's more of an economic estimate that's used to, gauge the benefits of avoiding using fossil fuels altogether. So it's going to influence things like oil, aviation, deforestation, manufacturing, things like that. So it's going to be very beneficial to anyone that isn't, like a soulless ghoul that will actually pay attention to these numbers. A tax on carbon would make them pay attention to these numbers a lot more, but there's still time. This still could happen. I don't know. Is it going to happen under this administration? That would be great. It'd be great if it could happen by the end of 2021, but that's unlikely. But that would be great. That's what I'm pushing for. I hope that's what happens. It helps inform and improve decisions that the federal government makes. individual states are using it as a way to look at their green investments, of how they invest in renewable energy moving forward. And other countries are already doing this, you know, like the UK, Canada, Mexico, they have this as well, and they pay attention to these numbers and they use it to inform their decision in government policy making. So yeah, you heard it here first. Probably not. Just kidding. So let me know in the comments if you like this number, this $51 per ton, or if you think that it should be lower or higher, or if you think it's right on the mark. Do you think that this 3% discount rate is too high, too low? I'm interested in knowing. So yeah, comment below. Go ahead and like, subscribe for all sorts of climate change news and eco-friendly product reviews and goofy climate change stuff. It's all about talking about climate change with some lightheartedness and some levity, and bringing money to climate relief efforts. So thanks for watching and subscribing, and I hope to see you back. Thanks for watching.